Dr. Jacques Despitri of Soho MD, here at the Bullpen at the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference, and I'm here with Mel Hernandez from Matterworks. Great to have you here.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Yeah. So could you tell us what brings you here?
Well, I came here for a couple meetings with the Bullpen, and it's been great to be able to have a nice spot here to network with different folks from different different companies.
And before Matterworks, what was your path to getting there?
I have an interesting path. I think a lot of folks that are in BD kind of take a more traditional route of getting a PhD or an MBA and then going directly into a business development type of role. I joke that I'm a failed scientist. So I started at a laboratory running a sequencing facility for about 4 years. We were high throughput. This was many, many years ago when high throughput was not very high throughput like it is today. I eventually got pulled into a company that is called Applied Biosystems as an application specialist. I was there for about 11 years, and through that time, there was a couple acquisitions. We became Thermo Fisher. And what's really nice about that company was that there's so many different elements to Thermo Fisher, and so every couple of years, you could actually go try different things and learn a new, essentially join another division, have a new career. And so I went through there. I did everything from FAS, sales, CapEx sales, business development, and then from there I got tapped from one of my friends from R&D to come essentially start up the commercial entity of a smaller biotech. I did that for about 4 years. We were acquired, then moved on, got tapped on the shoulder by another Thermo Fisher person that had me essentially bring up a new product within a company, a whooshy company.
Okay.
I was there for about 18 months, and what was actually really interesting is we signed a very large deal, and the ink was pretty fresh. And if I backtrack to my time at Thermo Fisher, I was liaising essentially an acquisition, and I was working with the George Church lab. And the last day there, I said, "How do you feel about this acquisition and giving up this technology?" And they said, "Oh, we're bored of this technology. We're on to new things. We're sequencing tissues in their place, and so that's what we're really focusing on." So I laughed at them and I said, "If that becomes a problem, call me." And I laughed at them, And so the ink is still wet from signing this contract. And they called me.
Wow.
And they had a product, and they had me come into the office, and I looked at it, and I said, "This is unbelievable. I have to come in." And so I came in, same thing, first business person on, set to the full commercial pipeline, I brought in BD, sales, applications, engineering, et cetera.
Wow.
And told my wife there was about 5 years before this thing goes M&A or something, and 11 months in, we were acquired by 10x Genomics. I went into 10x Genomics for a little bit of time, but my world is really startup world. Made my way to a couple different startups in bioprocessing, and now made my way to Matterworks as essentially the head of commercial.
Very cool. And can you tell us more about Matterworks?
Yeah, Matterworks is a really interesting company. Again, this is another situation where I heard what the technology is. When I first heard it, I was like, okay, so we're AI. And I was like, okay, there's plenty of AI out there. But when I actually got to the table with our board and our founder, they really showed me what we're up to here. And what's a little different than other AI companies is that for right now, we're focused in on metabolomics.
Okay.
And using our essentially our foundation model that we've developed. And what makes us a little different than other folks is that we have created the largest data set for this foundation model. So whereas other companies are coming in at kind of the ground floor and say, "We can build this, we can provide us data, and we can start building our foundation model. And given years or months or decades, we can have something that's very powerful." We've actually flipped it. We've put a lot of time and effort and money into developing our foundation model. So our foundation model has 172 million spectra in it.
Wow.
And so when we talk to companies out there right now, and we show them what we can do, we're starting ahead of the game. We know what data looks like from mass spec. We can now train that onto genomics data, ERP data, like all this data we can ingest. And it really just is, what is your question? and how can we train this to answer that question?
So you have a reference data set that gives context to whatever work a company's
Exactly.
focusing on?
Exactly. And what's a little different compared to like a chat GPT or something is that that's all training their AI model to understand language, right? The English language. And they've read everything in the internet, every little Reddit, every little piece of anything that's new coming onto the internet to understand what people are asking it. We've actually done something a little bit different where we've trained it on instrument data,
Wow.
raw data, so unfiltered raw data. And so there's a lot of power behind our model and our foundation model.
That's amazing. So you can help your partners really jumpstart their efforts.
Exactly. And we've heard it time and time again. Our partners saying, this is actually, you flipped this on our head. We now need to think about this differently.
Wow.
Originally, we were thinking we have to bring all this data in, capture new cell types, to bolster a foundation model. Now you're telling us you can go in with your foundation model and essentially jumpstart it, right? So we're essentially now months, if not years ahead of the game compared to anyone else.
So you improve the efficiency. Do you also improve the cost as far as this process for your partners?
100%. If we go into a meeting cold and they just hear AI, they think the cost is going to be astronomical. We can bring tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of samples or data points. We don't necessarily need that. That will help bolster the next versions of the foundation model that we're developing, but we don't necessarily need that. We have now the capability to say, look, it's going to cost a lot less money for you guys, and you're going to hit the ground running. Again, time is money, and so to be able to get ahead of the game with, in 6 to 9 months head start, it's amazing.
And what are you working on now?
What are we working on now
in terms of 2024? Like what are you excited about?
Yeah, I mean, so 2024, I think it's going to be an exciting year for Matterworks. We are commercializing. We have a product that's called Pyxis.
Okay.
Pyxis is a constellation, and within Pyxis, it's essentially a reagent kit. Again, another thing that separates us from everyone else. Essentially, a reagent that allows us to standardize mass spec. So the other piece about mass spec is that it's very hard to just get someone else to run up to it and run it, or walk up to it and run it. Here, what we have is we have this reagent that allows us to essentially have a non-expert walk up the system, generate data without doing an amazing amount of optimization, standard titrations, et cetera, to even get a project running. Here, you can just take your samples, run it, and on the back end, you have your analysis platform on the Pyxis side.
That's amazing. It's a universal reagent that you can use for a wide spectrum of different products and compounds?
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And so typically, you have to go into mass spec with an idea of how you're going to optimize your very specific problem. And it's a huge barrier. And so what we want to do is remove that barrier with the Pyxis platform. And so for us, what's so exciting for 2024? We have a soft launch through the first part of the year. So we're essentially just making sure our partners are really happy, generating data. Second half of the year, we're going to have a hard launch, and we have a lot of data that's coming out with our partners, kind of mid-year. So really excited about that, building the team, et cetera. And so we're very charged up for this year.
That's amazing. And what's your ask of the Bullpen community?
Really the network is amazing. The people you have within your network, be able to tap into those, it's just going to help bolster, our technology and all the rest of the portfolio companies within the Bullpen.
That's amazing. So if you want to learn more about Mel Hernandez and Matterworks, you can go to bullpen.ventures, and his link in bio will be there. Great to have you here, Mel.
Thank you very much.